have such illuminated personalities for today's function. And I'm sure it augurs well and it matches the spirit and aspirations that we have for this University Institute of Media Studies. Well, I think we are extremely happy and we heartily welcome Mr. Kuldeep Nayyar. Not only a veteran journalist, I would say he is Bhisham Pitama of Indian journalism.
Not only to share what I have learned, but also to give you some piece of advice, because you are the people now entering this profession, or some have already done. So that is my purpose. We are illuminating and guiding the public opinion of public. Any person who becomes part of establishment, according to me, ceases to be a journalist. So you have to see that whatever you should never be seen pro-establishment. We report, we are the people who are there, we are the people who are trying to mold public opinion in a way. We have to be honest. What is there, we must report honestly and to the best of our ability convey to the readers or guide them so that they make up their mind. After all, we have to, good or bad, whether we suffer in the process, but we should never compromise with the facts, the truth, whatever be the impact. What in journalism.
You're very right in what's happening to journalism in terms of mainstream media. That's where the corporate ownership is happening. That's where the kind of biases are creeping in. There was an article recently about why India has almost 300-400 news channels, while none of them are making money, and there is still a long line of people wanting to get licenses to start more news channels. So what is this business of news channels in India? So they actually traced it back to West Bengal, where the government wanted to set up a news channel. The West Bengal government, and they applied to the Government of India, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, that we want to set up a news channel. So they said you can't do it. I mean, it would start creating trouble, because if state government started broadcasting their own channels, it would create trouble. So they said, all right, if that is the problem, there is always a solution. And they said, all right, we want to start a channel. So let's bring in a private player who will invest the money, and we'll start a channel, and they would know that we are behind it. So we serve the purpose. So that's how it started off, and now there is this whole kind of deluge of channels all across, privately owned, corporately owned, political kind of interference in the networks. But even as all this is happening, and there is this feeling that journalism is not doing what it should be doing, there is a vacuum that has been created, and that vacuum is being rapidly filled by a new breed of journalists. They are quickly coming in, and they are filling up that vacuum that has been created, and you have all these new sites called scroll.in, quartz.in, and a lot of these investigative sites that are popping up, and all these disgruntled journalists who are feeling unhappy with what's going on in the mainstream media, they are in fact leaving and joining them and being able to pursue independent journalism in that sense. That is where these new platforms, these new media technologies, they are making a lot of difference, and that's where institutes like Chandigarh University and all, they are trying to step in and kind of cash in on this particular situation, that how do we create people who are ready for this digital generation.
You used a sentence, probably towards the fag end of your address, was that probably this media has outlived its utility. Probably journalism. I think in this one sentence lies the lead from where I take on, and precisely, if I can read properly, New Age media is what we are discussing today. Because I think the concerns raised by you, sir, further accentuate the need for us to really identify the right horizons, where we stand, how we stand, who guides us, what takes us forward. So new age media, as we speak about it, and as you say, that probably a new form of media, much more substantial, much more independent, real, much more decentralized from the current centralized forms of media that may either emanate or stem from a corporate setup or maybe from a political setup. is probably what we should be looking at if we want to work independently. We need to actually understand that as we grow, as we look for jobs, like jobs was a very critical word, sir, that you used. Job is whether are the journalists looking for jobs? Are we in this profession just because we need to stay in a job? Or can we start our own outfits? Is it possible? Is the ecosystem allowing me to today start maybe a publishing of my own? I can write a blog, I can own a blogspot, I can own a website. So technology is actually empowering us to do what probably we couldn't do earlier. To interact with masses, to be able to communicate better, to be able to help reshape the opinions as opinion makers, the journalists, or any other person who's playing a critical role in mass media has to do.
Sir, it's an absolute honor, pleasure to be on the same panel as you are. I mean, it's like a dream come true. And thanks to Rich and thanks Vice Chancellor, sir. Also, the changing technology. I want to give you one example. In 2005, the London bombings took place in 2005. Within 2 hours, BBC was flooded with pictures, first-person accounts, emails, and people actually trying to walk into the studios, trying to walk into the BBC office, telling them what they saw. I want to fast forward to just 4 more years. In 2009, when Bali bombings took place, the news was on Twitter. And it was the same case with the earthquake in China, in Sichuan. And BBC picked up the news from Twitter. So you see the difference. There was a time when people had to, like Jyoti said, that there was one platform and it was giving out news to a lot of people. But here, the platform is really expanded. Everybody, all of you have a platform now. And you can stand on that platform, you can stand on that podium and talk about anything you want to. Which is a great idea, and I think at the same time a horrible idea. The thing here now is it all within the realm of journalism? And that is where I would like to come back to you, sir. When we were getting trained as journalists, there were certain basic facts we were told. Those, I don't know if people still talk about them, those 4 W's that we have, where and how, and the pyramid structure and the inverted pyramid structure. Those are the kind of things. And there was a simple fact we were told that until and unless you have checked your facts, until and unless you have verified the news, there is absolutely no way you're going to put it out. And so I would like to come back to you again after I finish. You said you have to attack the establishment all the time. You have to be seen as being anti-establishment. I beg to differ, sir. Why pro or anti? Why can't you just be neutral? Why can't you just be there and reporting facts as you see them?
Some of it, Mr. Nair, you must allow me, sir, to most respectfully disagree with you, but purely from a student's perspective. So, since we're talking about new age media, I just want to tell you the definition of social that I use in the organization where I work. The definition that I have, and I would request you to think about it. Social, so S is for short, O is for omnipresent, C is for chatty, it is conversational and chatty, I is for independent, A is for argumentative, and L is for lively. Using that definition, I will try and build a case for you of what new age media is and how it is likely to evolve. And internally, for the organization that I took over 7 months back, it's been one of the most rapid learning exercises and transformations that we have effected within a matter of this panel, who is on the panel on this side of the table, who is a representative of a newspaper, although of course out of deference to Mr. Nair, he is moved out of the bottom line many years back. Probably they and many of you might have a different story, but the point is not to contest and debate newsprint versus TV versus media. So what is the evolution therefore that is happening? World over, whatever may be happening in India, we are seeing three trends, and that is why this university's decision to say new age media is completely well taken. When my friend Ritesh told me that I have to travel for this, I did not even ask him the question beyond when he told me it is new age media. I did not ask him any other question. I said, yes, I want to go there because